Alrighty. What's up, everybody? I didn't think I was gonna stream today. I didn't stream yesterday. I wasn't feeling great. But I'm feeling a little bit better than I was earlier. I was just a little dizzy and kind of out of it. I didn't think I would take any trades, but I'll show you what I took. NQ 30-minute. Inside bar had a small gap up. It filled the gap. As you can see, it opened here, filled this little gap, and I just basically longed like almost immediately for the 30-minute inside bar up, which hit its target really quickly and then has been chopping around. I ended up adding into this position at multiple points here on these little pullbacks, so I've got an average of about 239, keeping my stop at 231 where it is now, and hopefully letting this thing play out to 300s plus. All-time high would be ideal. 300, 320, something like that. If it gets to 300, this would be a $3,500 trade. Yesterday, I was in a position and I was fiddling with it. I specifically told some people in Discord, I need to not touch this trade, let it play out overnight. And I missed another $7,000, $8,000 trade. Full port, uh, over 100 points. So, so I didn't trade today. I just took the day off. I saw it dumped early in the morning, and then I wasn't interested after that. I expected it to kind of chop around, which it did. Till the end of the day, and we got some movement, but nothing I was interested in, and I felt like I needed to recover from not sticking to my trade plan. So yesterday it was the 4 hour outside bar here, the 1-3, right. Bears tried to take it down, couldn't get to this target. Price started reversing. We go red to green. I get in, and there was a little bit of a pullback in here that I ended up closing on. It didn't hit my stop. I closed it minus $66, and then it continued grinding up to my 300 plus target. So I didn't have a good reason to get out. Was in it to win it, and just fumbled. And I'm tired of doing that. This is like the third or fourth time I've missed a $8,000+ trade in the last 2 months, messing with my stops or just manually closing because the trade isn't going fast enough for me. So here's another. I like the 4 hour outside bar to the upside. So expansion out of this broadening formation with full time frame continuity back to the highs. We'll see if we get that. But I didn't trade in my primary XFAs. I kind of traded in my YOLO XFA that was down about 800. So I figured I would get this back into the green, hopefully, or at least back to break even. And I'm just going to kind of let it ride, right? Not going to deviate from the plan. The plan is 300 minimum, 320, and then all time high. And if that doesn't happen, fine, I'll trail my stop up, but I will not trail it as tight as I normally do. This is a trade that I want to, just let it work, let it play out. So that's what's going on with me. I was looking for ways to distract myself, and I said maybe I'll just hop on a live stream here and chat with you guys, see if anybody is in any trades, how you did today. Maybe talk some psychology stuff. Uh, what's up, Top Striker? I copy trade 3. So you can see over here on the left, I have T3, 1, 2, and 3. Those are my primary XFAs, right? So copy trading 3 and then 2 backups that I would maybe consider copy trading, that, in 2 different groups, like the 3 primary and then 2 backups trade together. But it requires too much messing with the copy trading settings. Like I would have to, in settings, copy trading, unlink everything, clear everything, and then relink the accounts. And then when I want to trade my other XFAs, I would have to link them back up. And I'm just not going to, I'm too lazy to do that. Too big of a pain in the ass for me. So I'll just trade them individually. So right now I'm only trading this one XFA. But there wasn't a setup. You know, when I the reason I didn't stream at Globex was I wasn't feeling great, and there weren't the charts didn't look great at all. Like the only thing there was the double 15-minute inside, which you can see here, right? 2x inside 15, which is an inside 30, up to the highs. Like that was it. No real 4 hour setup except the broadening formation expansion, right? The outside bar, potentially breaking bull, getting expansion. But that's it. It was going to be inside 12 hour, inside day. We closed doji day. Like here's the day on, right? This is the day on NQ. Closed doji. So nothing to really get after. That's why I just focused on the one account that was not doing as good as the others and scaled into, two minis. And just kind of letting it go. So we'll see how this works out tonight. I'm hoping we just continue to grind higher. It's possible we don't or get some kind of pullback. I will probably now at least break even this. I don't want to give back. I don't want to take a loss after being up 1,000. But I'm not going to trail my stop super tight either. That's how I got tagged out yesterday. And I didn't even get tagged out because of my stop. I got tagged out because I closed the position. I walked away from the screen to go lay in bed and just kind of chill out and let the trade play out. And I grabbed my phone and I started looking at the trade and I saw it was pulling back and I was like, oh no, let me close it. And then it ripped higher. While I was driving, I saw that it, did what I wanted, got the outside 4 hour. I revenge traded full port without even looking at anything, just bam, bam, 20 minis, and was winning in that position too. Pulled out, pulled back. I got tagged on the outside bar, on the 60-minute outside bar, right here. So I was in probably from this inside bar or so. I got tagged out. I must have just barely hit DLL. And then, I fell asleep. The next time I woke up, price was up here over at 300. And I was insanely furious because I expected some kind of corrective activity, right? That's what happened. A little corrective activity, outside bar, and then just whoop, right back up. So my original entry was at 235, right down by this inside bar, right? Like here, somewhere in here. And then my full port FOMO entry was somewhere up here, which is why this candle got me. I didn't have a great entry here. So by the time this candle pulled back, I hit my 350 daily loss limit. And then of course we ripped higher. So super frustrating. Just trying to learn from it, right? Like what could I do better? What did I do wrong? Closing a position without, sticking to the plan. Really, it's all for me. It's been about not sticking to the plan. If I have a plan and I have a certain target in mind, um, you know, win, lose, or draw, I need to stick to whatever that trade plan is. So tonight, I don't care if I stop out of this position and make nothing. I am sticking to the plan. The plan is 300 plus, right? That's what I care about. I don't care about 1,000. I don't care about 2,000. I don't care about 3,000. I care about whatever the number is when it gets to where I expect it to go. Top striker trading full time job. Yes, yes it is. So fortunately, I had a pretty good January that paid my bills through February and March. So I haven't gotten a payout yet in February, but I should if you know, I'm hoping to. I'll put it that way. But if not, I think I'll get a payout in early March, and that should carry me through, another month or two. I do have assets that I can sell. I mean, I'm in the domain business. I've got a pretty nice offer, six-figure offer on bongs.com. So if things get really tight, you know, I have some credit that I can live off of on some cards, and you know, visiting family now. So I'm still paying rent for my place in Florida and bill, whatever, cable, internet, water, sewer, trash, whatever those costs are. But I'm not really driving anywhere. I'm not spending money on food. It's, mom's is kind of hooking it up. So that helps a bit. But I'm still spending probably 2,500 a month on a place that I'm not living at. So, but it does add, there is additional pressure now to perform and to get payouts. I think it's helped me in some ways and hurt in other ways. But I've mostly focused on the trades and not trying to quickly make money because, oh my God, March 1st is going to be coming up and I need to pay rent. Like, I'm trying to stay out of that mindset. It's not a great place to be as a trader. Like, bills are going to keep coming in, and all I need to do is take the best trades that I can. Focus on good setups, stick to the plan. Yesterday would have made my month a $7,000 to $8,000 day. I mean, that's a good month for me, right? 8 grand. I'm okay with that. It at least buys me a month or two of, buys me some time to wait for the next setup, and that's the mindset that I've been sticking to. Is if I'm patient and I just take good trades and stick to the plan, the money will show up. Yeah, there's not really anything to learn about futures. I mean, if you have a strategy that you trade that works. I mean, I know the strat, for example, which is what I trade, works for futures, crypto, stocks, options. Whatever I trade, oil, gold, it's all the same thing. Time frame continuity, broadening formations, one, twos, and threes. The strat combo sheet. You do need to learn like when contracts roll over. There are a couple little nuances with futures that you need to be aware of, but as far as like strategy and whatnot, and you got to learn kind of how NQ moves compared to ES. NQ is a bit wild. It's NQ is for the impatient, but that's not necessarily like a good thing. If you're impatient, just don't trade NQ because you're impatient. But I've spent most of my time trading NQ, gold, oil, some silver, a little bit of copper, but most, like 95% of my trading is NQ. When I switch to ES, it just moves way too slow for me. Like NQ during New York is really difficult for me to trade. It moves too much. So I've considered switching to ES during New York just to not have to deal with the volatility. So I mean, it takes a little bit of time, but there's not a whole lot that you need to learn if you've got a strategy down. Oh, you're up 10K in options first month, and I mean that's a great month, dude. Nothing to complain about there at all. Dominic, what's my target price? 300 plus, 320, 300, 320, all time high. I feel like we get to all time high this week. Maybe not tomorrow, but I mean, I'm going to shoot for it. Yeah, I don't. How long you been trading, Top Striker? You said first month in options, but that doesn't mean you've been trading just for a month. I would be impressed if you have and put up a $10,000 month. You either got really lucky or You're a wizard. All right, options for a month. Used to trade shares since October. October of this, so 5 months or whatever it is. Is that what you mean? October, November, December, January, February. So you just started trading 5 months ago? That he was just chasing price, didn't have a strat. You got a strat like 2 weeks ago. Then I mean, if after your first year of trading you are in the green, you're probably beating 90%, 95% of other traders. Like the what I've heard, and I've been doing this 4 or 5 years now, is if you're break even after your first year, you're doing good. If you haven't dug a massive hole for yourself, then you're way above and beyond what is typical. Like I didn't really get super comfortable with trading until like my third year. I would make money, and then I would give money back. I didn't stick to a strategy. I didn't have well defined rules. I wasn't working on my psychology. I was overly greedy, overly confident, traded too aggressively, oversized. I mean, the list goes on and on. A lot of it wasn't strategy related though. Like once I got comfortable with the strat, then and I thought that was 90% of the game, right? I thought once I figured out a strategy, I'm 90% of the way there. When you figure out a strategy, then you learn that the strategy is really only like 20% of it, and the other 80% is managing your emotions and your psychology. So like that's where I'm at now is making sure I stick to rules, that I'm disciplined, I exercise self control, I'm consistent, I'm patient, that I trade less. I avoid scale, I'm just looking at some things on my sheet here. Avoid scaling up when I'm trading poorly, right? In the past I would if I had a couple losing days, I would double my size to try and make back those losses as quickly as possible, right? When you're trading poorly, you don't want to size up. You want to size down. And when you get back in a groove, that's when you kind of inch up a little bit and then try and chip away at those losses. But you don't have to make it back in one trade or one day or one week. If you have a string of red days, you just try and chip away at it. But my brain would tell me, oh, we're down a grand in the last like 3 4 days. Next trade's got to be at least 2 grand, so I make up the 1,000 and then I put $1,000 into the account, and I would get crushed doing that. I would just get my teeth smashed in. Bear, I do use Dom. I kind of keep an eye on it here. I don't really use it for my trading, but if I see say like a 50 lot at at a certain price level, I do kind of pay attention to see how price reacts there. If it just chews through those orders and they get filled, or if it kind of rejects, just an area that I pay attention to. I've thought about using something like Bookmap, which displays it in a more visually appealing way for some people. Some people think they don't like it. Um, I've also started experimenting with Mentor Q, which gives you Gex levels, the gamma exposure levels, and where you've got put and call support. So based on the futures options data, but I haven't really. I just signed up for it yesterday, so I haven't put those levels on my chart to see how price reacts around them. But I did notice that 225 was listed on one of them, 22,225, and we basically closed there today. So I don't know if that's kind of like a one-off thing, but it was basically right on the money. So we'll see. I mean, it happening once when I'm not even 100% sure how to use those levels doesn't mean that you know that it works, or that it's doesn't mean anything, right? Could just be a coincidence. Now, if over the course of 2 or 3 weeks I start to notice that every day these levels are respected, or when it gets to a call level, then You've got option sellers exiting positions, and it ends up being like a resistance zone. But the strat is what I trade is my go-to. But if I can put some other targets on my chart or areas of interest, then and it helps me in my trading, then that's what I'm gonna do. Right? I want to use every tool that I possibly can to become a better trader. So I've started to do a little experimenting. Somebody has suggested rocket scooters, so you can see up here I signed up. They have got like a 20-day tutorial course kind of thing that they do. I think it started today, so or yesterday. I might have missed it, but I'm sure they'll do it again. I sent a DM to Matt on Twitter. I was trying to sign up and I had questions. So options DGen actually has mentioned it a few times, and a few other people have DM'd me and said, "Man, these levels are pretty on point, worth paying attention to." So I want to continue to keep growing and learning as a trader because I want to make a lot of money at this. That's I want to have the freedom to be able to travel and trade when the market's open, and then go enjoy my life from various countries or Airbnbs around the world. It's being a trader is great, especially I don't have a wife, no kids, I have a dog. That's it. I have the freedom to really do whatever I want to do right now. As long as I have an internet connection, a reliable internet connection, I can trade. That's all I need. So I want to do some exploring, and I want to make a lot of money. There's there are no two ways about it. I'm not one of those people who's like, I think Sarah has mentioned like she makes enough to cover her bills, and like and then there's some extra on top. That's great. Now I'm straight up looking to get rich. I'm not gonna lie. I want to make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year if I can. Right? If I can control myself, if I can use good risk management and follow a plan, the sky is the limit with trading. So why just cap it at like I'm okay making, a couple $100 a day? I am right now, but I mean, really I'm looking for 500 to 1,000 a day, kind of minimum. That's like where I'm at. But as I've mentioned before, 2 years ago I was happy with a $20 day. You don't just, start as a new trader and put up huge numbers. Most people don't. It's a process, right? The people who are really good at this have been trading for 10, 15 years. They've seen a lot of different market conditions, the financial crash in 2008 and COVID and 2020. They've lived through some of these cycles. So, yeah, this trade is working out well. And, I mean, I think I'm just going to kind of let this ride a bit. Anybody jump into any trades tonight? Did you catch that 30-minute inside bar by chance? This right here, this nice little. So we had this big. The reason I like this is because we had this big outside bar right here, right? Aggressive buying, a little bit of corrective activity, an inside bar, which I look for when price is going to reverse, right? Price tightened up right here, and then we broke to the upside, targeting at least this, which we got on the first 30-minute candle. So I posted in one of the discords I'm in, heads up, we hit our strat target pretty quickly. Just, you know, that puts me on like alert. And you can see we did pull back a good bit here. We gave back half of that move, but finally picked it up, and now we're just continuing to push higher. This is what I'm looking for, like big aggressive moves, a little pause, and then resume, to the upside or the downside, depending on what the setup is. So yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason why we won't get up to like 300, 320, and then depending on how aggressive they want to get overnight, I'll push higher. I'll probably maybe partial some up at 300, 320. Maybe I'll peel like 5 or 10 micros off, but I'm going to try and hold as much of this position as I possibly can for as long as I can. Just keep a really wide stop. This is the 2 minute chart, so I'm not going to get hung up on, this candle right here, this kind of pulling back on a 2 minute chart. It's just a 2 minute chart. On a 15-minute chart, this is nothing. Or on an hourly chart, it's really, it's you wouldn't even notice it barely. So I'm trying to keep that in mind that, to really not just use the 2 minute chart. Like I use it for really tight entries and stops typically. It gets me kind of pinpoint entries and keeps risk really tight. But if I'm going to hold for 3, 4, 5 hours, right, I can't be worried about the 2 minute chart. I got to be looking at the 15, 30, 60. And stay focused on them. Victor, where can you learn here? There are two playlists I suggest you watch. This is Sarah's. Oh, come on, what's going on here? Why can't I paste this? That is Sarah's playlist. And when you get done with that one, this is Alex's Strat A to Z, which is also good. So check those out. You can get through Sarah's, it's like 10 videos. They're about like 10, 15 minutes each. So there might be one or two that are 20 minutes, but they're short. It's maybe like 2 hours. I would watch them. I would watch them. I would practice trading. I would watch them again. I would practice trading. I would watch them again. As get more familiar with what you're looking at, things start to click. Things that you've heard a million times, you're like, oh, now I get it. Now I see why that's important. So yeah, good luck. I usually try and stream Globex kind of every day for the most part. I didn't this week. Kind of slacked off a little bit, and I was late today. But I've considered skipping the first hour after open and kind of streaming at 7 p.m. Eastern, which is sort of what I did tonight. Got a little bit of a late start, but I updated my rules list and I put on here no trading if sick, tired, bored, right? So if I'm not feeling 100%, I am going to chill out. And that's kind of what I did tonight. Like I couldn't stream and trade at the same time. It's very difficult to do. To try and answer questions in chat, to pay attention to the charts, to pay attention to execution on Top Step, to manage my risk, manage positions. So I just decided to hold off. Let me just focus on my trading a little bit. But yeah, there's some great strat content out there if you go on YouTube. If you check Sarah and Alex's YouTube channels, they've got a lot of content, a lot of educational stuff. Alex does like a weekly kind of review or a daily market review video. It's usually about like 5 or 10 minutes. It's really great. Highly recommend you take a look at that. So you might watch that and have understand like a tenth of what he's talking about, or maybe like a fifth. Some stuff's just going to go over your head, but the more you watch it and the more you put in the time and watch those educational playlists that they have, the more things will make sense. Like I had the strat basics down in like, I don't know, a couple weeks. But then to really like, I would say master probably took like a year. And that was trading almost every day. And I was developing a market scanner based on the strat. So I was in the strat many, many hours per day. It's like anything else, man. If you wanted to pick up the guitar, whoops. If you wanted to pick up an instrument, it's going to take you a period of time to get comfortable with it, right? The first couple weeks you're going to be, just kind of plucking around ting tong. It's going to sound like shit. And you might learn like a really basic song, and then you'll learn a couple chords, and then, and then you start to chain chords together, and you just get better over time, but you have to put in the work. You got to practice it. Use a practice account. Don't trade real money. Or if you do trade real money, trade very small size, like a share of something, or an options contract. Options adds a little more complexity to it, but it is worth it to kind of learn about how they work. But if you're a futures trader, it's really simple, right? We're just long or short. Top strikers, Wi-Fi is killing me. What do you mean? You just have bad Wi-Fi? Do I ever position trade? Define that for me. What would you consider position trading? Oh, you're at Costco? Okay. Yeah, sometimes those big buildings, their service is not great. Like cell service is kind of blocked because it's a big concrete building, and then sometimes when they have public Wi-Fi, it's just not, it's not zippity quick. 1 month holding? No. I've mostly been trade. Now I've considered it. With some like 3 month, 6 month, year options contracts or leaps. I almost bought some Nvidia the other day when it was getting crushed down at 116. Just buy leaps that were a year out. They would have done really well. I regret not buying them. And then, maybe selling calls against the positions that I have, or, buying 100 shares or selling puts. Um, I've been so hyper focused on futures the last 5 or 6 months that I think I've made like two or three options trades. I traded SPY and maybe in QQQ, and then looked at Nvidia. But I can make, it's not super difficult trading futures to make 500 or $1,000 a day consistently for me, and like that's a good day. It's, $1,000. It's 5 grand a week, 20 grand a month. If I can do that consistently, I'll be happy. So, I really not. I don't want to complicate things, but the nice thing about like being a swing trader or position trader like that is you don't have to be looking at the intraday charts, right? I could just trade the daily, weekly charts. So check in on the position every day or every other day. I would probably look every day. Not gonna lie, but it's look once a day, boom, move on. It's either working or it does it is it coming. Does the trade still make sense? Cool. If not, maybe consider closing. I will probably get more into longer term holds. I don't know for what period of time, but maybe multiple days or potentially weeks when I open a personal futures account. There was an oil trade that I really liked, that played out over the course of a week or two, a week and a half. That would have been, easily several $1,000s with very little drawdown. Hit its target. I do regret in this trade back here not getting in on my copy traded funded accounts, because you can see we held this weekly open, and so getting in here and putting a stop just down here. I saw this where this candle pulled back, right? This is like this is an inside bar, so stop just goes down here somewhere. Very very little risk, but um I didn't want to get too, I didn't want to be spread out too much. I just If I had thought, I didn't think about it at the time. I mean, that's really what happened. I just didn't even consider it. And it's always to say, it's always easy to say in hindsight because I'm up 1600 now. I start doing trader math. 1600 times three accounts is 4500 versus, 1500. Blah, 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 blah. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. I try not to play that game. It'll make you crazy. Victor, T3 works with market structure. Um, I'm not super familiar with what, you guys, what ICT traders, I guess, call market structure or, market structure in general. I mean, if you're talking about like higher lows, higher highs, lower lows, lower highs, then yeah, I mean, that's kind of the gist of what it is. We just look for specific candle combos and we like moves in a direction, a bit of corrective activity, so a pullback and then resume the trend. We keep an eye out for broadening formation, so like megaphone patterns, something that would look like this, and then we would draw something like this and see if, trade back and forth in between here. And then there will be times you'll get expansion outside of the megaphone pattern in the direction of time frame continuity. It's kind of like more advanced concepts, I think, personally. But you'll learn a lot. I mean, even just like time frame continuity in the strat is great. If you were above the daily weekly open, you're bullish. If we're below the daily weekly open, be bearish. That saves me a ton of money. I try not to trade against the daily weekly open unless we've hit an exhaustion level, which is just a pivot on a higher time frame, like we've taken out a weekly or monthly high, and we're out of gas and things start to reverse. Then you can trade against time frame continuity. But typically, you want to trade in the direction the market is moving. If the day is green and the week is green and the month is green and the quarter is green, you've got quarterly participants buying, you've got monthly participants buying, you've got weekly participants buying, you've got daily participants buying. Everyone is buying. Why short? I see people in Top Step Discord trying to short yesterday, and it's like, dude, just wait. It's easier. It's better to wait for the little pullback. They'll be happy over a 20-point short and miss the 80-point long. It's like just wait for and you can scalp the short, sure, but look, you got to know that you're not going to get that many points out of it. Market's bullish. We're headed to all-time highs. My opinion. So like I yesterday in Discord I was like buy and I told a couple trading buddies just buy dips, right? Look for dip buy opportunities. Market completely dumped this morning. I don't know what that was about. I'm guessing that was Trump said something or tweeted something or there was some kind of news. If I had to guess, because it was a pretty aggressive sell off. But you can see already we recovered all of that move down and we are back pushing near the highs. Right on the 4 hour. We did give some of this back, right? Pulled back here, but we've already recovered most of it. So I'm expecting that. If bears were gonna, if bears were gonna win here and push this down, they would have done it here, right? There would have been, we might have gotten like a little bit of a bounce and then, a push down, but they couldn't do it, right? Sellers were not strong enough to get this moving down in any meaningful way. And then buyers stepped in and we're grinding back to the highs again. Victor, I prefer trading Globex and the slower markets. I do trade New York. I just trade smaller size, and I don't like it as much, honestly. Yes, you get quicker moves. Um, if you're on the right side of those moves, that's great. I just I historically have done better trading slower markets. I can scale in full port. Like I would never do this during New York. I would never be in 20 unless I was trading a combine. I would never be in 20 minis or have not been in 20 minis during New York. I usually trade I'm sorry, 20 micros. I'll usually scale like my starter position during Globex is 3 micros. So I'll go 3 micros, 3 micros, 3 micros up to like 12, 15, 18, and then I just add 2 more, right? In this account, the most I can with scaling plan is 20. So it's the max I can do. During New York, sometimes I'll add in single micro increments. A micro, a micro, a micro. I won't do 3, 6, 9. I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's much easier for me to manage risk with these small candles. You just have to be more patient, right? Like this move here is 43 points, but it took an hour and a half. A 43-point move during New York can be a 1 minute candle. You know what I mean? Like, and people get wrecked trying to, they're just not patient. Like, and I'm fine holding the trade for 3 or 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. Like, what's the rush? Let it just keep grinding up, right? We're not gonna have any kind of massive swings here. I know worst case I could probably lock in at least $800 here. Like, we're not just gonna get a death candle. I mean, we could. You never know. It could be the market seems to have absorbed the tariff talk, so the T word is not as bad as it was a few weeks ago. But there's always headline risk. Something could drop and the market could just dump. But in general, like I don't have to worry about that. During New York, it's just super whippy and crazy. Historically, I've made all my money during Globex and then I give it back and hit, some kind of my loss limit during New York. Just I don't know why. It's just what happens. I don't know if I'm too hesitant, uh, too patient, or I'm looking for too much. I don't know. I haven't really figured it out yet, but I found what works and that's what I stick with. I also like getting a buffer during Globex, so if I can make a couple $100 and then trade New York, I've got a little bit of a cushion there, right? I'm not going to go in the red, like I'm already in the green, starting New York in the green. So if I give back $200 or $300 and end up break even, then it's better than being down 300 in the red. So I know a lot of traders that do that. They trade Globex, they get a nice buffer, and then they go into New York being green, kind of play it that way. Yeah, that's why I didn't trade today, Victor. You said it got chopped hard today, AM on New York. Anytime there's a big move like that, we tend to chop around. Like once the move is done, it just like you see we had this big look, this dump, little sideways, dump, corrective activity, dump, moving down. But like even in here, this was kind of choppy. This is choppy. This is all choppy. This is sideways. Just chop. So anytime we get a big move like that, I basically check out because the trading is usually trash. I just get chopped up. So I won't trade it anymore. I slept all day. After the market opened by like 9:40 and I had missed that move down, I was like, all right, no need to sit here, going back to bed. Now I wish I had gotten up earlier for this end of day kind of run into the close, but you know, it's okay. Oh, bro. Victor blew up 5 Express accounts. That is pure pain, man. Were you copy trading them or were you trading them individually? Probably copy trading, if I had to guess. Oh, and you got the big move? What? What happened? You got the big move, but you blew up your 5 funded accounts. How? Greed? Were you being too greedy? Like you wanted more? More, 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 more. Copy trading? Yeah. That's why I only copy trade 3 of my 5. I hate not having a funded account. So until I can prove that I'm super disciplined and consistent, right now I'll just copy trade 3. I'll leave 2 backups because I have blown up 5 funded accounts. I went on tilt, revenge traded. The thing that's helped me most, the thing that's helped me the most recently is sticking to a personal daily loss limit of $350. If I hit that, I'm out. And if I'm up, let's say I'm up 1,000 or 1,500, right? I still kind of only want to give back like 350 from my realized profits. Like once I lock in money, I really don't want to fall back. I don't want to give back too much. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, look, the market teaches us lessons. Victor said extremely greedy. It's a killer, man. You and I know it. And we gotta battle those emotions and those feelings, right? You had a good win. That doesn't mean you are the trading god all of a sudden, right? But our heads are like, damn, that was, just take another trade. You're gonna double that, triple it. You gotta fight that. Like if you caught the big win, you gotta decide how much of that you're willing to give back before you cut yourself off, right? If you're willing to give half of it back, fine, but don't go from being up 2 grand to red or blowing up the accounts, right? Go from 2 grand to 1 grand and then be done, or go from 1 grand to 500 and then be done. He was sure we were gonna take 22 and 92. Let's look. Oh, that was like literally the bottom. And then what? You just kept fighting the market? Yeah, man, it's tough. I can relate. I've burned many XFAs doing dumb stuff. Lately, I have managed to hold on to my XFAs longer than I ever have because I stick to my rules now, for the most part. I'm not perfect, but I am not willing. Like if I'm up, I'm willing to give back 30, 40, 50% if I'm gonna be able to like double it, right? So if I'm giving back 30, I'm willing to give back 30%, but I can make another 100%, then that's a 1 to 3 RR. That makes sense, right? If I'm gonna willing to give back 500, right, just to squeeze out another 200, that's the RR is reversed, right? My risk is bigger than the potential reward. Doesn't make any sense to do that. So I that's how I try and look at it. How much more can I potentially make, and how much am I willing to give back to make that attempt? That sucks, man. So are you back in combines or are you taking a break? Where are you at? You're probably back in combine, I would imagine. This is my problem. I can't hold my Express accounts always in one day. I lose everything after you get the email. Um, when you make the 5K, bro. I'm telling you, do this. This is what I do. Pretty sure I did it on all of my accounts earlier, right here. Risk settings locked. Max daily loss, $350. I couldn't tilt if I wanted to. I just can't. It doesn't happen. I've blown accounts with 5,000 in them. I've blown funded accounts with 4,000. I've blown funded accounts with 3,000. I've blown funded accounts with 2,000 in 30 minutes. Going on tilt, taking a loss, revenge trading it into the ground. You cannot do that. Anybody who's listened to me like stream the last couple weeks or months, I like bang the table on that over and over and over. You cannot do that. It's not allowed. Like, just can't happen. If you cut that out of your trading, you'll improve by like 50%. You'll be able to hold. I just held on to an XFA. I did lose it. I just had a 7 day losing streak. But I got 5,500 out of the account and I kept it for almost 40 days. That's the longest I've had a funded account, and that was me sticking to a daily loss limit of 350 and locking myself out, right? Locking risk settings. So hopefully that helps. I'm not trying to beat up on you. I've been there. Um, but we can't, as traders, if you're trying to be a professional trader, you cannot take an account that is up $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 and plow it into the ground in one trade or one session. You're not even giving yourself a chance to recover, right? It could be the market conditions suck. It could be you are off mentally, right? You're just off your game. But when you just blow it into the ground, you don't get another chance tomorrow to see if it was you or the market. You're just screwed. Like if you had cut yourself off down 500, yeah, you would have given back some money, but you'd still have the five accounts to trade, and you'd be able to give it another shot tonight or tomorrow or whenever you typically trade. Yeah, Victor, check out those strat videos, man. We keep really tight stops. Like I'm usually this time of day, 5 or 10 point stop, and then during New York, 10 to 30 points. So if I stop out, I'm okay stopping out, and I just get back in if the trade still makes sense. That's all. Like stop out small loss, stop out break even, stop out break even, and then catch the move. That's fine. I only had one small loss and two break even stop outs, and now if I get the $500 to $1,000 move, it makes up for the for the red trade. Is the 15-second chart risk per trade 200? I mean, if that works for you, but like, so you risked 200. What happened today? You got greedy and you took a loss after loss after loss, and then probably revenge traded like F this. I'm going to teach the market a lesson. The market's definitely going to do what I think it is. So I'm just going to go all in, or I'm going to let this trade go against me until I blow my account up, right? Something along those lines. Sound similar? It's just we just we can't let that happen. Yeah, you get a ton of it. Like I've been in a place where I know what I'm doing is crazy and I'm going to blow the account up, but I do it anyway. And now I lock risk settings and I can't delete my daily loss limit. I can't adjust it, right? Like when I get down to 300 and I'm about to be locked out for the day, I can't just go edit it and make it 400 or 500. That's what I used to do. I used to almost lock myself out for the day. And then I would give myself, I'm like, I just need another $100, $200 of wiggle room and I can recover. And then I don't recover and now I'm down 500. And now I tell myself the same story. I just need another 200, right? And I adjust my daily loss limit to 700. And I'm obviously trading poorly. And then I size up and then I get rid of my daily loss limit and I just blow the account up. I did that. I'm not kidding. 40 to 50 XFAs that I've had over the last 6 months, I have plowed into the ground revenge trading. Since the end of December about 28th, I think, I stuck to a strict $350 daily loss limit. That month in January, I got $5,500 in payouts from that account. Um, and I've managed to, I just added another XFA here and there till I got five. And now I'm just focused on those. And sticking to that small daily loss limit has saved my ass. There's no doubt about it. So I feel you, man. Sorry to hear. You'll recover. You just got to try and learn from it. Eight ball trade says I think that's easier to understand. Above weekly open, go long. Below weekly open, go short. Yeah, I agree. Top striker. No, I have not traded Forex. Forex to me just seems so scammy, and from what I understand, that it doesn't move like futures move. Since I guess austerity measures in the UK, like in London, Europe, I don't know exactly what that means. That I'm hearing from somebody who was a forex trader back in the day that the number of pips that they're getting today these days are not like they were 10 years ago or whatever. So I have no desire to learn. I have stocks, options, crypto, and futures. I do not need to. I don't need it. I need less things to trade. That's why I've mostly been focused on futures and crypto. They both trade very similarly. They're both almost 24-hour markets. I can use, I get a lot of leverage. and that's it. I don't. How much money do I really need to make? I would love to make 5, 10 grand a day, you know, or more. I don't. There's no really no cap to what I would like to make. But realistically, what do I need to live? $500, even probably $300 a day is enough to live comfortably, right? Or okay. So like there has to be a point where our wins are good enough and we say, "Hey, that was a good day," right? On Sunday night I cut myself off. I was up 800 in my 3 copy traded XFAs. It was $2,400. I made it in about 2 hours and I said, "That's it. I'm not trading these accounts anymore. I'm done." That's a great day. That's a good week. I got to walk away. And that's hard to do. It's super hard for me to do. Because if you give me a $500 win, all of a sudden I win 1,000, right? If I make 1,000, now I need to, really want 2,000. If I make 3,000, I get to 3 grand. I'm like, let's push it to 5 or 6, right? At some point, we have to say, hey, this was a good trading session. This was a great trade. Take the win, walk away, come back, wait for a new setup. Ethereum, I don't really, I mean, I mostly trade. I do have a long term Bitcoin and Ethereum position. I know Ethereum has been getting beat up, but we're going to get a lot of people on one side of the boat, and hopefully it rips. Whether it does or not, I don't know. Crypto, I saw Bitcoin got a little beat up yesterday. I haven't, during the week, I don't focus on crypto, just on the weekends when futures are closed. So XRP is a good one. I don't care a whole lot about the fundamentals because there were a ton of coins in 2017 that were going to be the next big thing that you can't even trade them these days. So I know Bitcoin's not going anywhere. Ethereum's likely not going anywhere. Solana probably not going anywhere. XRP I know is supposed to have some good uh, potential fundamentals with working in banking and that sort of thing. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, crypto keeps the itch scratched on the weekends. But lately on the weekends, not much has been happening in crypto, so it's been kind of boring. All right, guys, I'm gonna hop off. I just wanted to pop on here, chat for a little bit, kind of distract myself from this trade. I have not really been paying attention to it. I see it's pulling back a little bit here, but nothing for me to get too worried about. But again, really targeting 300, 320, kind of all-time high. I don't see any reason why we should stop and turn around, right? We're probably going to keep grinding higher. Maybe there's some pullbacks, but I see no reason to be bearish. We're above the daily weekly open. I'm looking for longs, and that's it. So going to do my best. Um, Decided to do this stream. It'll also keep me accountable, right? We'll see where I exited this. I'll talk about it tomorrow, and we'll see if I was able to stick to the plan, or if or if the trade stopped working and I cut it. That's one thing, or stopped out. But full transparency, I like to, I usually just trade live on here. I just, I was already in a trade when I jumped on, but I like to show the good, the bad, the ugly. Trading is hard. I'm not the best trader. I don't claim to be. I just been doing this for a while. I think I probably have something to share with newer traders who are trying to figure this game out, especially when it comes to trading psychology. And once you get a strategy down, then it's you got to manage yourself, right? And there's a lot of focus on strategy and less on the psychological aspects. And once you get a strategy, kind of when you've got a solid strategy, then you'll realize like, oh shit, there's all of this other stuff that I need to deal with, right? Like greed, fear. Oh my God, I'm in the red. Can can you manage your risk and just be okay stopping out red if the trade doesn't work? Or are you going to get pissed and then revenge trade your account into the ground? Strategy is not going to help you with that. Strategy is great if it gives you a framework and a set of rules to trade, but it doesn't tell you what to do when the feelings come up that, oh, that trade didn't work, I got stopped out. Can you just say, okay, that's part of the game and move on? Or do you feel the urge to make that money back the next trade? So, with that, I'm going to hop off. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this. Appreciate everyone stopping by. Good luck tonight, tomorrow. Trade smart, manage risk, do your thing. The money will come. I will see you guys later.